There's no doubt it's been a trying time for businesses all around the world. However, some clever women have managed that COVID pivot with incredible style. But how do you get started with the right idea for a successful business? Welcome to TickHER. Let's get started.
TickHER, in association with Lift Women, inspiring female founders.
Welcome to TickHER. I'm Jamila Jallo, and it's my pleasure to be here to talk all things business with women who are making a difference. Let's dive into the ideation process of how some of these businesses have grown, how they've identified an opportunity, and found success in their field, especially in recent years with the pandemic changing the course of many industries and businesses. TickHER celebrates the talents, skills, determination of women around the world, bringing guests who have successfully achieved their business goals or are taking the first steps of an exciting new venture by sharing it loud and saying it proud. And remember, whilst Lift Women is the presenting sponsor of today's discussion, all of the views and opinions are, of course, our own. Now, to my first guest for today, Ashley Guttoli has managed to raise the highest amount on the Lift Women platform, and it's no secret why. Her business, TickHER, is an innovative product changing lives. Ashley joins us now to tell us about her journey. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for having me.
No, of course. Now, I'm so excited to hear about this business, TickHER. Tell me about what it is. What's this product you brought with us today?
Sure, yeah. They're bra skins. It's the first fashion invention since 1935.
Wow.
The first novel fashion invention. And it all started, I've had bras in my wardrobe since I was 17. Yeah. And I always did crafty things to hide it. So, pins and tapes and singlets and all the different things that we do as women when we're wearing our bras. But that gets harder with age. And I had my second baby and realized none of those things were working anymore.
Right.
And what ended up happening was I started throwing out all my clothes. I had 9 garbage bags worth of clothes I was ready to throw out.
Wow.
And I was standing there and I looked down and I said, I just wish I could wear my bra with everything. And that was the seed that was planted. I made a really bad one with my sewing machine and I brought it straight to a lawyer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, so you mentioned pregnancy and being a mother, causing and starting an idea like this. How did you even invent something like this? Like, how does one imagine this idea?
Yeah, totally. To be honest with you, a lot of it is I'm a creative person in general, so I'm an elite choreographer and I travel the world doing that prior to this. And it was all based on movement, and I think from there I started to brainstorm and take all of my different experiences to create the garment that I have today. It's not easy. You can't do it by yourself. You have to find like-minded people, brilliant people who are more brilliant than you. So I'm not in the fashion industry. I'm in the arts, but I used my understanding of movement and how we all move. Like I think the big thing is that we put on clothes and we stand there and then we get home and realize, oh, that's falling off my shoulder. Oh, that moves way too low. We forget that we actually live in our clothing. That was my part.
Right. Now, you mentioned you've worked in the arts, so I can imagine what you've experienced during the lockdown and the pandemic. So how did you pivot out of, coming from the arts into being a businesswoman?
I've always been a businesswoman. I've owned very successful performing arts school, Airbnbs. This isn't something that just happened today. Those businesses led me to now just applying a lot of the principles that I had for those successful businesses to this. I did sell everything though, and just put everything into this. But I mean, I didn't. You prepare your whole life for when opportunity meets. Like that luck and preparation, and then you get luck, and it's not really luck.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it's an amazing initiative, and you've become very successful. Did you have any inspirations going into this business?
Inspiration would be myself.
Yeah.
I think we're so afraid to celebrate ourselves. Yeah. But I was really excited about using my own product, and for me, can I show you?
Of course, I'd love to see it.
So, I was really excited to use my own product, and that was the first thing that was like, wow.
Yeah.
So
let's have a quick look.
Yeah, sure. So they're skins that you put your bra inside, and it takes shape on your body.
Amazing.
So it turns, to any color, any pattern that you want, and it's like pillowcase to pillows. I just find buying bras silly because, you know, we need bras, but they still look like bras.
Yeah,
So.
well, I love that you call it like a pillowcase for a pillow. It's a
Yeah.
bra skin for a bra.
Yeah.
Now, Ashley, this has been so great. Thank you so much for bringing in your Pika bra in with us. It's been lovely to talk to you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, now over to our next guest now. Juliet Donaldson comes to us from the Wylde app, that's Wylde with a Y, an idea that came about from the result of the ongoing lockdowns during the height of the pandemic. Wylde is a plant adoption and marketplace for our plant babies. Juliet has joined us today to tell us more. Juliet, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thanks. How are you going?
Yeah, good. So firstly, tell me about how this awesome idea came about.
Well, as you've just said, it came to me sort of in the depths of lockdown. I think many of us realised that looking at the same four walls every day really did mean that you needed something in your house that was changing, was growing, maybe getting you a little bit closer to nature that you were missing. And I was already very into houseplants, but I found myself, you know, trawling Facebook Marketplace, trawling different websites, like looking for various plants and what have you. And I found that it was quite hard to see everything all in one space. I was flicking between so many different things, and it was kind of hard to see like a centralized place where I could purchase everything. Plus Facebook Marketplace, I got scammed 3 times, which was really frustrating, and obviously there's no one you can really complain to, no customer service, so just had to chalk it down to a lesson. So decided, why don't I try to build that marketplace out myself and build something for the plant community and for buyers and sellers where they can come. It's all plant-based community, blah, blah, blah. And really, just started it from there.
Yeah, awesome. So how did you go about bringing this business to life? I know it was you've got the idea. How did you go about making it a reality?
First step was making sure that I just wasn't being crazy and interviewing sort of family, friends, people in plant Facebook groups, and just making sure that this was something that people really wanted to actually see and would actually use. And the reception was really good. Sort of gave me hope that going along this pathway was the right idea. Then it just came down to a lot of Googling and finding sort of the right technical partners to build out the first version of the app with me. And I found a beautiful little company that specialized in startups and building out that minimum viable product, so that MVP. And they sat with me for the next 5 months of complete Melbourne lockdown, spending weekends after work into the wee hours of the morning, just getting everything ready, making sure everything was looking good, testing everything, and getting it to launch.
Yeah, awesome. Now, navigating the world in general as a woman has its own sets of challenges. So how did you go about not only being a female, but being a female founder in the business world?
I come from a business background, but not an entrepreneur/founder background.
Right.
So jumping into that world as sort of one woman was really quite daunting and definitely felt quite lonely at times. And for the first couple of months, when you don't really know what you're looking for, you kind of sit there and you're like, well, this is a pretty male-dominated space. You know, it's kind of hard to find like-minded peers within it all. But after a time and after doing as much research as humanly possible, I was able to find a lot of pockets and communities of women who were doing the exact same thing that I was doing. So really trying to make their passions into a reality. And it was wonderful. Lift Women was the first place that I sort of found that and was able to see that community, you know, growing and thriving. And since then, I've built a fantastic network around me of women who are, on the same pathway as me, and it's been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, great. So we've got the app, we've got the business. What's next for Wylde?
So 2022, big year for Wylde. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline. Now that we've got our MVP, our minimum viable product, you know, out there for the world to see, and there's been a really good reception to that. We've had a lot of users, a lot of natural traction. We've got a completely new version of that app getting built out from the ground up with a different developer team that we're working on at the moment and hoping to get to market over the next few months. So exciting times.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for coming in today. I can't wait to hop on this new version of Wylde and get myself some plant babies. I was definitely one of those people that started adopting during the lockdown. So thanks so much for coming in and sharing your ideas with us.
Thanks so much.
Okay, now to unpack some ideas relating to our discussion today, I'm here joined by Irene Tsang, the CEO and founder of Lift Women. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, okay. So first off, I hear you've spoken to over 200 people in the lead up to Lift Women's launch back in June last year. What has been the number one asked question?
Well, I would say it is about whether their business ideas would work or not.
Okay, so how does one know whether their idea has potential or not?
Great questions. When it comes to idea validations, I would always say there are three key components that you cannot miss.
Okay.
The problem, the solutions, and the market.
All right, so number one, what's the problem?
Yes, for the problem, number one is you're going to know what problem are you trying to solve, why the problem exists. And try not to start with what I want to do, but focus on the why you would like to do this. Because a good idea is an idea that's solving a real problem that people have.
Of course, so that leads us into the next tip. So what about the solution?
Yeah, then comes to the number one is number two is the solutions. So what's your solutions for this particular problems? Is your solutions trying to remove the pain points of your target customers, or are they going to add value? Is your solution specific? Is your solutions very concrete? And would you be able to articulate and present your solutions in just 1 to 2 minutes? So these are very important questions that you need to ask yourself.
Right, and how about tip number 3, the market?
That's very important. So for the market is there any other business solving the same problems or similar problems? You will need to do quite an extensive research on the market landscape, competitors, and then you can find your niche.
Okay, great. That's awesome. That's great. Nice 3 tips to,
Yeah, so by thinking through all these 3 components, it would then pretty easy to find your value propositions. But lastly, I would highly recommend all the founders to talk to at least 8 to 10 people about your ideas and listen to their feedbacks. You will find this process really helpful. But make sure you talk to somebody that you trust. It can be your friends, mentors, or target customers, anyone, and try to find different types of people to ask.
Okay, well that's really helpful. Thanks so much, Irene. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today on TickHER. I'm Jamila Jallo. See you soon.